How's it going, doggy people? I hope you all are doing well. We have a video by a woman, a group, whatever. The name of her company is called Kwanzaa Kennels. I've seen a few of her videos, and I am just so distraught for the animals and her care and the way she trains. In my opinion, it is very abusive training. It is very aggressive training. It is very unnecessary. She's probably, I don't know, maybe in her mid-60s, early 70s. I don't know. She's old school, regardless. She believes in pack theory and all that nonsense. And she believes in you do what I say because I said it, and you do it now. And I don't care what you think or what you feel or blah, blah, blah. She taunts the dogs in her care. But to me, she's... Hey, boy. Sorry, that's Adonis in the background. She taunts the dogs that she makes fun of the dogs as she trains and harms them and scares them and causes, and by harm, I mean, she uses a prong collar. She'll use these special collars she's made. It's basically plastic points on the back of this collar. She uses very harsh corrections. Sometimes she'll put what she calls a half hitch around the tummy, which is you tie the rope around the dog's midsection low on their belly, and she inks and cranks. And so what I'm going to show you in this video, I've fast forwarded to the point where she's, to the point that I feel is relevant. I just want to warn you, it's not pretty. You're going to see a dog shut down. It is very sad and really upset me when I saw this. So that's your warning. If you don't want to see that, you can not look at it. The dog's not going to be like yelping and screaming like in the Cypress Arrow, but to me, there's not much of a difference between that and this other than the dog screaming. And yes, being, whipped with a crop, but this is not too far below that for me personally. So I'm doing this for educational purposes. This is nothing personal. I do use the ABUSE word, but that's because that's my opinion of what I see, and entirely unnecessary in how she trains this animal. Again, it's being used under Fair Use Act for education and criticism purposes, showing you that this entire process is so unnecessary. So, if you'd like to get started, let's go. So he's already
Kaiser needs to understand there is a limit. Don't you, Kaiser?
So she knows what she's going to do. She knows what she's going to cause this dog, which is pain. I'm not even going to say discomfort. A lot of pain, fear, intimidation, pain compliance, and she will laugh at the dog, when the dog shows calming signals or stress signals. So
good boy.
That dog whining is not this guy. I believe it is a pit bull over here, which is or a pit bull type dog. They are also deaf. So
look at how cute you are. Now, nothing
it has
I'm
nothing
doing
to do with anything, but
is
this
foreign
is the dog
to
that's
him.
whining.
He's just never seen me take
So his tongue's hanging out. He has this prong collar. He has 3 collars on. This lady likes to put, no joke, 3 or 4 or 5 collars on. She'll put chains wrapped in duct tape, so it's, not a chain, but she'll put regular chains around the dog. She'll weigh him down around the neck, because apparently that helps her with training. To me, it's just a crutch, but...
to the level I'm going to take it to.
So he's showing floppy tongue. He's stressed. This wrinkle here, floppy tongue, this dog is not comfortable. He's stress panting right now.
I'm going to set him up to make a challenge, and he's going to get a correction.
So she's going to set him up for failure. That's what she does. Because she's, in my opinion, never tried. She has 1 year of experience in training 50 plus times. Versus I may only have 11 and a half years of experience one time. And I mean that with my own Shiba. Which means that I have learned and changed my methods throughout that time.
He does not want another one up.
She has not. So she's going to give him such a harsh correction that he doesn't want it again. For a big Rottie, Rottweilers, as big and scary as they are, they're very sensitive dogs. And by sensitive, I mean, you give them a harsh correction, they shut down, as you're going to see. Just because he's a big Rottie doesn't mean you can get away with this abusive type of training.
I can't go any further than that. Yeah, that would be right.
No, it's not as simple as that. She gives him a harsh correction. He says, oh, I can't go any further. Oh, blah, blah, blah. She's minimizing the actual emotional and physical trauma this dog will go through
Good
to
boy.
make it okay.
Come on. So we can't prevent them from challenging. We've got
Yes,
to
you absolutely
allow
can.
it.
That's what
Wait.
I do. That's my entire job, is preventing a dog from... It's not challenging. The dogs don't challenge you. She says, in order for them to ask a question, they have to challenge you. A challenge can mean, I don't know, multiple different things. But challenging would mean, in this case, that they're trying to see if you can make them do it. And in my experience with dogs and horses alike, most of the time, they're not doing it to see if you can make them do it. They're doing it because they're confused. They don't know what you want. There are times when I've had dogs and horses, and because those are the animals I most commonly work with, that have challenged me, but very, very rarely. And even then, I didn't need to use a harsh correction like what she's doing here. And I add horses into it too, because a lot of people will use that with horses, and dogs that, like, oh, you're either higher or lower. It's only the one of the two options. No, there's a lot of different options. I mean, just because I work with a horse, I don't have that whole concept of, oh, they're constantly higher than me, and just because they step on my foot, I need to beat them, or I need to show them who's boss. I just need to be more aware of where I'm stepping, and if they're nervous of something on the other side of them, they're going to move into me. It doesn't mean, and they might kind of run over me. It doesn't mean I need to be abusive and smack them to teach them not to run over me. I need to be more aware of our spatial surrounding and get them used to whatever it is that is scary to them, so they don't feel the need to run over me. I don't know, sorry, that was kind of a lot for one little second, but we'll move on.
You...
So he was...
Wait, good.
He was just walking. I mean, she's constantly... She's just so controlling. She's like Beckman. She's so controlling of these dogs that when she says something once, she means it.
All the nice stuff is done. It's time for him to start learning a career.
And they also really like to anthropomorphize these animals. I don't know how old this dog is, but apparently he's in the teenage phase, so, adolescence and teenage, so people like to act like, we'll let her define what she sees.
It's time for him to start stepping up. He's had a wonderful childhood. He's had a lot of privilege. He's done a lot of things. Guess what? Time to get a job.
So that's old school way of thinking. Maybe that's how her life was for her. I don't know. I don't care. Dogs don't think that way at all, period. He does. And even with a human child, you don't need to think that way for them either. That can cause a lot of issues. Hence why she, grew up the way she did. And now she treats animals the way she was treated, possibly as a child, with the idealism of, okay, enough nice guy. You go straight from, rainbows and sunshine to, okay, beating you on the back with a whip and get to work slave and blah, blah, blah. Not literally, but figuratively. And this guy doesn't need that. He's already stressed. He's looking at her. He doesn't know. Why does he have to pay for her ignorance? I don't know.
Now, the correction that I'm talking about is determined by the dog.
No, it is not. Never. Never, ever, ever. She's doing that as an excuse so that she can get away with abusing an animal. Not, she can stay ignorant, and it's the animal's fault. A dog is not, no animal chooses a correction over a non-correction. And they certainly do not choose the level of correction, because they're not purposely trying to one-up you or challenge you, or if he knew what was going to happen, he wouldn't move now.
Hi, you.
So here he's doing fine.
Good. I'm going to give him a lot of... Yoo-hoo!
So he just yelped, lip lick.
Thank you.
She didn't even give him a chance. She didn't say anything to him. She popped him, and he yelped. Didn't even give him a chance. He didn't know what he was doing. And she just says, yoo-hoo. Oh, yeah, I'm right here. She minimalizes it.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to stay with me. Huh, surprise, surprise.
Minimalizing. This dog is stressed. That prong, 3 collars on this dog, Jesus. She's not using these. I don't know why she feels the need to have to use this metal prong collar, which has these prongs all the way around his throat, or the back of his neck, versus these, which are her own design of collar, where it has 3 plastic pegs, basically, that dig into his neck. I don't know why he still has these on. This is also just irritating him too, but that was entirely unnecessary. If I were to do this, I mean, obviously I wouldn't even need to do that. If he walked away from me at the end of the line, okay. He hasn't ever had freedom off of the center line, as far as I know. He's never been in here on a leash like this. I can let him sniff. If he decides to come back to me, I can reward him. Or I can back away and call him to me. None of this is necessary. Especially since it's just out of the blue. He doesn't understand why he's getting corrected. That's like if you go to school, the first day you've ever gone to kindergarten, whatever, or middle school, whatever, you go to a new school, you're learning something entirely new, and every time you just go and sit down in your desk, and randomly somebody smacks you over the back of the head with a ruler. You don't know why you got corrected, and they say, you're not supposed to sit there, you're supposed to wait until I tell you to sit. And they're like, well, if you would have told me that in the first place, I wouldn't have done that, so I didn't need the correction. You know, that's communication. You can talk English to children and people. Can't to a dog, but you can still give them a fighting chance. So this dog is in cross ties. I think he has a prong collar on as well. So this guy's just tugging him against this pole, or this post here.
Good choice.
But we're just going to focus on this guy for now. He actually, I don't know that he knows this stuff. I mean, he knows it from being tied on the center line to follow you.
That one correction may be all he needs.
He didn't even need it. You needed it because you're incompetent. Or you're just lazy. Or you have such a high ego and high thought of yourself that you think that you're so special and fancy as being a pack leader. I say that with quotation marks because that's not a thing for humans to be. Unless you're a wolf and that wolf gives birth to a family. It's just about ego and ignorance is all this is.
Good.
And the animals pay for it. So I don't know what happened with that cut. To me, especially with trainers like this, cuts are very important. I don't know what happened with that. I'm not saying anything particularly happened in that, but it would be nice to know what did happen, since she gave him a correction so hard over here that he yelped.
Now, the other thing that he has been...
If he had a tail still, it would be tucked.
Pushing. Every time you've been here, I've pushed him. All right.
Now, I can push a dog, too. I can teach them to accept things. But it doesn't have to be with this. We see the white eyes from here. Panting, white eyes.
He doesn't let... Oh, you're going to sit today? What a good dog.
He sat plenty of times. Earlier, when he was on that post in the middle, he was lying down. He sat down. He has a very good settle. Settle is what a lot of, she uses and I use, like, hey, calm down, relax. He's very good at relaxing. Now he's doing this to avoid more corrections that he doesn't understand why he got. Now he's more stress panting. When we have them... He's stress panting more than he was before.
Sit and lie down. Down.
He was thinking about laying down. He didn't know if he should. He's afraid to make a move. Down. Didn't need that. More abuse. I'm calling this abuse. Entirely unnecessary. I could easily get this dog to lay down with no collar, no leash, no attachment to him, without ever touching him. And yes, I'd be using a treat. Or if he liked balls and a toy, I could use that too. And he would willingly offer that multiple times within, 10-minute period. I could get him to lay down very, very easily.
Yes, ouch. I mean you.
No, it doesn't mean you. He's afraid to lay down because she's hurting him. He doesn't know why he's being corrected. Now she has her body over him. This is a good way for this dog to bite her in the face. But he wouldn't. Because she's manipulated him since he was tiny. Because dogs don't naturally think to do that. If he had, I would say good dog. If he had bitten her, yeah, I know I'm a terrible person. I would say good dog. But you know what, in the end, I don't hope he does, because in the end he'll probably be put down. Or abused further. Although, she would deserve it. She's asking for it. She's causing this.
Down.
Ouch.
See? When you put somebody down, it is lowering them. He does not...
No, it is not about lowering them. The way you're doing it is lowering him, but I won't even say that. The way that she's doing it is terrifying him. He's beginning to shut down. He doesn't know. You could ask him to lay down, but if you tell him to lay down and you correct and correct and correct, you're actually teaching him to stand or to not lay down. And you're too much of an idiot or too proud of yourself or too ignorant to realize that because you have a filter. This person, anybody who follows this method or whatever, or ideology, you have a filter. When the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, you see every problem as a nail. And you only know how to hammer in those problems.
Not want to be low. Down.
It's not that he doesn't want to be low. He would be happy, I can guarantee you, he would be happy to lay down if you taught him in a way that was not scary to him. But he's learning that down means pain. He doesn't want to lay down. So now she's going to step on the leash. Ouch.
Down.
Oh, let's listen to that again. Warning, if you don't want to hear whining and whatnot, then fast forward a couple of seconds.
Be down.
Shutting
It is
down.
lowering them.
Body.
He does not want to be low. Down. Down.
Shutting
Good
down.
dog.
He is down. He's shutting down. Short lips, whining, crying, really curved back, a top line. Again, if he had a tail, it'd be curled right under his tummy. Whale eyes.
Dog. But you've never treated me that way before.
And the way she
No.
makes fun of him. We'll just let that sit in there for a second. I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of a story. I was working with a reactive Aussie Shepherd. I took her to a chiropractor because she had torn her ACL and they were going to help her with things in her back and whatnot. He's a human chiropractor, but he also works with dogs. So I take her there for her owner. She's not my dog. Take her there. She has a basket muzzle on. I have treats. I'm ready to work with her. Keep her calm. We walk in the door. She starts barking at him. I knew that was going to happen. I thought he knew that was going to happen because the owner had tried speaking to him several times. Something got lost in the connection. He didn't know that was going to happen. We walk in. She's barking at him. The first thing he says to her is, "Shut up." Like that. "Shut up." Says that to a barking dog, which clearly is just fearful. Then I try to take a treat out to calm her down, get her attention. He says, No. No treats. You don't reward this kind of behavior. This is not the type of behavior you reward. I say, okay, I put the treats away. I think in my head, he's an idiot. Let's just get through this. Because he's trying to teach me how to train my own dog. He doesn't know it's my client's dog, but I go in. Before we even enter the room, he takes the leash out of my hand and starts popping the dog and correcting and yelling at her and saying, "No, knock it off. No one cares." Acting like her. Like a tyrant, a stranger taking the leash out of my hand, possibly my dog, and correcting the dog for me. Now, maybe 8 years ago, I never would have done this. And thankfully she was on a harness. I would never let him do that with a collar. I mean, the dog, anyway, the little time the dog is reacting and barking and jumping and lunging at him. Because of that, he's an idiot. I take the leash out of his hand. We're both holding onto it. I try to pull it back away from him as he's popping the dog. And we're both bent down. I'm, this far from his face. And I say, "No, we are not going to do this. You are not going to." And I'm yelling at this point because the dog is barking. And I probably would have yelled anyway. I said, "No, you're not going to do this. You are not going to correct my dog. If that's what you're going to do, we are leaving right now." You know what? He stopped. I took the leash back. I stood up. I stared him in the eyes. And he said, "Okay. All right, do your thing." You know what? I don't think anyone has ever stood up to him like that. This piece of garbage thinks that just because turns out he's a Schutzen trainer of 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what his background is. I know he's an idiot anyway. He's probably just as aggressive and abusive as she is. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's my assumption of him. Based on how he was treating a stranger's dog, he took the leash out of their hand, out of my hand, and tried to continually show me how to raise my own dog. And he continually said, "She's dangerous. She's going to bite someone someday." I'm not there for training, dude. I'm not there for your I'm not there for your advice. I don't care. You're there to work on this dog chiropractically. So that was the first time after owning my own dog for over 11 years, training as of this month for 8 years. It took me that long to stand up to someone and advocate for the animal's rights. I don't expect anybody here to do that. She's had one person who left that said, "No, I don't like the way you train." And you know what? I bet she still thinks about it to this day that person told her off.
We haven't needed to. Good down.
So she says, sit and down should be used as a power exercises. I won't necessarily agree with that, but not so much as like power, like, just practice it positively, of course, so that it's a strong behavior. Used correctly, you confirm that you are above him. No, you don't. The dog doesn't care. He should be able to do it on his own because he trusts you. Not because he thinks that he knows that he's lesser than. On the other hand, if the dog tells you he won't and wins, that's not what really happens. The dog is not telling you that he won't. He's fearful. He doesn't know what you want. He doesn't know why you're throwing him down, why you're choking him down, why you're holding him down. You are in danger of losing the top spot. The dog does not care if you are on top or not. The dog would probably think you're on top more if you show him that he can trust you, and he will offer the behavior that you want.
Good.
God, look at that. She touches him and he flinches.
Good.
She comes down, touches him in the back of the head. Flinch, terrified,
Sit.
curled, ouch.
Thank you.
Shut down. Sensitive. Probably a 6-month-old Roddy. I don't know. I can't really tell. Look how relaxed these people are. This may or may not be this guy's dog, but he's just chilling. Maybe because he's injured. I don't know. But maybe this is required, for blood flow or whatever. But they seem pretty relaxed. If it is their dog.
We're working now.
Look at how stressed he is.
I don't fight.
I can work with a dog, and they will not look like this. Just because you're working does not mean it needs to go from happy fun to militant to slave.
With them when they're babies.
Slave driver.
I teach him what the words are. He learned it the first day you brought him when he was 12 weeks old. We set him on the table. We had sit, down. He's done that many times. At him. Good. With me.
Lip lick, closed mouth as soon as they take off.
So
Look at
when
this.
they're
This is a dog that's
working,
shut down.
it's
If you think
not-
that this is okay, then you're an idiot. I'm going to tell you right now. This is not okay. This method, this body language, if you don't know anything other than body language, I'm not saying you're an idiot, and it's nothing personal. It's just that this is not a happy dog. This is not a calm dog. This is not you could say submissive. Yeah, he's
silly.
fearful.
It's not play. This is work.
No, I'd rather have a dog want to play and work. I've taught many service animals with positive reinforcement, force-free. No corrections, or very minimal corrections. The correction would be that I need to remove them from a situation if they get too scared, or I need to lower something, or like lower the intensity, or whatever. Or just take away the treat, or whatever it may be. But I've never, ever had to... When I train service dogs, I train them with a harness, to be able to be worked on a harness by anyone and everyone. So that way, the least able-bodied person, whether old, young, sick, or not, they don't ever have to rely on tools to overpower the animal. If you have to rely on tools, these shock collars and prong collars and all these service animals, I think it's just ridiculous, because that animal probably should not be a service animal. They're not fit to work. And it's nothing personal against the animal. It's just that not every dog is meant to be a service animal. You know how many that are tested, and how many temperament tests and physical tests that are required for them to be a proper fit for each person? Not every dog is meant to be one. And if they're too hyper, if I'm working with a dog that is ill-fitted to be a service animal, I tell the owner right then and there that it would be unfair to the dog, and it would be way too much of a fight for the owner to try to make their dog into a service animal. Their dog may be great for tracking, for hunting, for agility, for sport, or just a regular pet, if they're too fearful of things.
And get up here.
Okay, so he's fearful. See, apparently he's not moving fast enough, just like with Joel.
It's not play. This is work.
He's afraid.
And
He
get up
stops,
here.
and she corrects him. The more you do this, lady, the more you teach him to stay back here. The less he's going to work with you.
Oh, I
Drag.
said we're working. Good boy. With
Tucking
me.
body. He's afraid.
Wait. Sit.
Ouch.
Sit.
Ouch.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ, woman. Abuse. This is abuse. Entirely unnecessary. And because it's in the name of training, it's okay.
Rottweilers.
And comments are turned off on this. I wonder why.
see no sense in sitting down.
She's saying Rottweilers see no sense in sitting down. I don't necessarily disagree with that. What I will say is that, like, any dog doesn't see, why should I sit? Why should I lay down? But it's not that they're telling you no. It's that they don't, in this case, of course we know he doesn't want to sit because he doesn't understand sit in this context. He doesn't know this stuff. She's going to say, yeah, he knows it. So that gives her the excuse to just harm him and correct him and all that. But no, in this instance, he could offer you plenty of sits and downs to earn a reward that he finds rewarding, whether it's food or toy or freedom or whatever. Maybe just attention. But, Adonis, my Shiba, I'll tell people all the time that Shibas force you to have respect for them. Because yes, Shibas don't see sense in sits and downs. And why would they? Most dogs don't see a sense in walking on a 6-foot lead, walking at heel by their person's side, because it's not fun to them. We have to make it make sense to them, and not through correction and force and any of that. It's not necessary. Like with Adonis, he doesn't see any sense, but I can say, hey, you do this stupid human thing for me, something that doesn't make sense to you, and I will do some dog stuff for you that doesn't make sense to me. Called the pre-Mac principle. You eat your vegetables, then you get dessert. If you can do this for me, something that I see ahead in the future that is something that human needs appropriate for their dog to be able to listen, then I'll let you go sniff a bush. I'll let you walk ahead. I'll let you, for me, I only have 2 things when I'm working with a dog, especially in the beginning. Just don't pull on me, and don't be barking and going crazy. That's it. I don't care about sits, downs, or if they want to give me eye contact, great. I will always reward that. But in the beginning, I don't care what you do or where you go, as long as you're not pulling on me. And if you pull on me, it's very simple. Just very, very light pressure, bringing you in and loosen. If you're barking and getting too crazy, we'll move away from whatever the trigger is. And if you can't get control, we'll just put you in the car for a couple minutes and reset.
They can't do their job if they're relaxed. Stand down. In the service, this would be, you're no longer on duty, you're just
Dogs are not,
ease.
Even Rottweilers, as guardy as they are, he doesn't care about protecting you. He cares about his own survival at this point, because he knows he can't trust you. So she's walking, look at how fearful, he's trying to anticipate her move. Standing behind her, he's so fearful.
See how he drops behind me now?
He's so stressed.
That's respect.
That is not respect. That's why I stopped it here. I wanted you all to hear her say that. She says, see how he dropped behind me now? That's respect. No. You're an idiot if you think this is respect. Yeah, he looks like he's smiling. That's a stress signal. That's a stress pant. He is so fearful to get ahead of you. He's staying behind you so he can see what you're going to do. Because if he gets ahead of you, he can't see when the correction is coming. This is fear. This is shut down. This is trauma. This is abuse.
He's letting me lead.
Look at those whale eyes.
Up until now,
he doesn't care if you lead. He's not. They're not this one-fits-all cookie-cutter idea that people think pack theory is. He doesn't trust you. He doesn't care about you. He's only here because he is tethered by a metal prong collar.
Be kind of a little bit ahead of me. He'll get over that. Good boy.
Yeah, he'll get over it. I mean, yeah, like anybody in an abusive relationship, yeah, they get over it. No worries. That doesn't mean that I have to change anything about myself. He'll get over it. You spank a child, you embarrass them in front of their classmates, whatever. He'll get over it. They remember this.
This is no longer multiple choice or if you feel like it.
So, there should always be multiple choice. There should always be, for things like, and people are going to say, about the service animal thing, they don't have a choice. One, they're not properly trained, or they haven't finished training, which takes several years, by the way, if they still need choices or they still make different choices than what you need. They're not a fully trained service animal. And also remember, they're an animal. They have a mind of their own. They have their own emotional needs. They have their own physical needs. They are not a robot. So it's not fair to say that they can't ever say whatever. They can't ever say no. Yeah, I mean, I get that. We all have good days and bad days, and for the most part, A properly trained service dog who is fit for work in every sense of the way, temperament and physically and emotionally and psychologically and all that, they can still have days when, they're just not on top of it. And it's up to the owner, the handler, the trainer to be able to recognize that. But in the beginning here, this is the first time he was, as far as I know, he's been off this line. And he is just, she says, no more choice. I don't care if you feel like it. You're going to do it. Slave and slave driver.
We back him up to something he knows. And he knows all this stuff.
He really doesn't. I mean, we can say he knows this, but does he? I don't think so.
He just never had to do it at this level before.
Why?
Easy, babe. Come on.
The string moves, the leash moves, and he shies away from it.
Oh, what an excellent weight.
That's not an excellent weight. This dog is terrified. Now he's standing on this dog's leash, constant pressure on this prong collar. Teaching this dog to ignore pressure, so he's going to need heavier hands instead of lighter hands. This dog is in a freeze. There's fight, flight, fiddle, faint, or freeze. This is a freeze. When dogs are nervous, they can go through, those 5 different Fs. Most commonly it's fight, flight, or freeze, but they can fiddle around or they can play dead. This dog is terrified to move. He's not sure if he should sit or not, because if he does the wrong thing, he's afraid to do the wrong thing. He's afraid to move. He's afraid to blink. He's afraid to sit, where he might get a harsh correction.
He's got to put on the brakes when I say wait. Wait.
You can certainly teach them that.
Good wait.
Without any of this.
Wait. Oh, stop.
Ouch. So this dog barked, and he's yanking on his prong collar.
Silly dog. Whoop, I guess you weren't tangled with that one.
Look at this dog just tucking in.
The more you fumble with him,
so fearful.
The more steady they are when you go to work them. I need to be able to untangle his feet, and I need to be able to move him around. I need to be able to push him and, pull on him and all that stuff. So he can't be, well, we're going to go over here. And no, we're not going to nicely do it. We're going to condition him to put up with it.
I disagree with that.
Whatever
we'll get it on a clearer picture for you, so it's not so blurry. I agree and I disagree. When I work with an animal, yes, I teach them to put up with certain handling by their owner and possibly by a vet. I don't care if a stranger wants to come and mess with my dog. You're not going to come anywhere and mess with my dog. And if a stranger comes and messes with my dog and they get bitten, which they wouldn't, because Adonis is, he's fine with strangers touching him. But I would never put him in a situation where a stranger comes over and messes with a strange dog and they get bitten. That's their fault, not the dog's. You're an idiot. If you go to a right kind of judge and you're trying to sue somebody and they know that you're just an idiot touching someone else's dog, they'll say, that's your fault. Pay for your own bills. This dog doesn't need to be put down, destroyed, died, whatever you want to call it. I can teach them to accept heavier handling, but it's just to prepare them. It doesn't mean they're going to be heavily handled all the time. I think that's also equally unnecessary and unfair to the dog. It's just like with a person, why do they have to put up with so much? That's not fair to them. She doesn't care because it's not happening to her. People aren't manhandling her. It would be assault. But with a dog, they don't have any consent. They don't have any rights. They're property.
Good boy. Kaiser, come on. Easy. Wait. Nice. Hi there.
Look how far back his feet are.
Good to see you.
He's afraid to move.
Good
He's
weight.
so stiff. Not
to see everybody. Up until now, he's gone up and saw lots of people. And now, we're working. Come on, babe. Wait. Very nice.
He's going to see him impressed.
Now that pinch collar...
Prong collar, not a pinch collar. It's not a pinch. It's a prong digging into your neck. Don't try to make it sound nice.
I gave him correction, a good correction. It's not even tight, but he knows it's there.
It's tight. And of course he knows
that means power
steering, and she's going to say that she gave him one correction. I don't even know. I'm going to go back through the editing and count how many corrections there were. Each one of those is a correction. Even now, this could be a correction. Each one of those was a correction. This is not just one correction. He's probably had 10. I'll put a counter in at this point. So that's the end of this video. Just wanted to show you what true idiocy looks like. To me, this is all abusive. This animal is so nervous. He's afraid to move. He's shut down. But it's all in the name of training. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope it wasn't too traumatic for any of you out there. This happens every day. I mean, thousands of trainers train just like this. So anyway, that'll do it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Whatever the day is for you, or weekend or whatnot. I hope you're doing great. Go snuggle with your babies for me, if you have any fur babies or not. And we'll see you next time. So until then, stay positive.